What makes some offers impossible to ignore, while others barely get a single click? This video is all about that. It's about crafting irresistible offers that convert audiences into customers. Now, I have advised a lot of founders, and I've worked on lots of offers that have made millions of pounds and helped founders go from being invisible to having products or services that were highly sought after. So stick around, and I'm going to explain the 3 C's and 3 M's, which will help you take your business from where it is now to where you want to go. Let's get into the 3 C's of a flagship offer. That's clarity, success, and commercials. The C is in the middle on success. Let's start with clarity. If you confuse your customers, you lose them. Clarity is super important because you want people to know exactly what it is you're selling, what it's going to do for them, and why they can trust you. So with clarity comes confidence. And when your customers are confident in what you are offering, that helps them to convert into people who come back to you again and again and again. Start off with 3 questions. Who do you serve? What problem are you solving for them? And why should they trust you? And when you have those 3 questions answered, you can craft one of those statements that have become a bit annoying because we see them everywhere. You know the type, the statement that goes, I help X to do Y in timeframe Z. And whilst you don't necessarily have to frame it that way, it is really good to know exactly who you're helping, what you're helping them do, and how long it's going to take. When you have clarity in that, you're able to communicate it clearly with or without the framework that everyone is getting a bit sick of. But it works, so don't be scared of using it. The second C is success. The C is in the middle. When you think about what success looks like, you essentially want to paint an ideal picture to your customer. So if they buy your product, if they use your service, how will their life be different in 3 to 6 months? You need to be clear on that so that you can paint that picture for them and gain their trust. What will life or business look like for them 3 to 6 months after working with you or using your product? If you can paint that picture clearly for them, you'd want their trust. And the final C is commercials. That's all about making sure that the pricing matches the value. The biggest mistake I see founders make in this area is pricing things by their time alone. And if you just price things by your time, you limit how much you can scale and grow. Ideally, you want to price things based on the value to the customer or the client. When you do that, you end up with pricing that makes sense to them, pricing that is coherent and cohesive. And ideally, you want to have tiers of pricing so that they can choose the package that works best for them. So I generally recommend coming up with about 3 different flagship offers, 1 priced quite low, 1 medium, and 1 higher. So I'll give you an example. If you are a coach or a consultant, you might have a pricing tier that is very, very basic, and it starts around £1,500 up to about £3,000. And that is going to be your basic tier. In the middle, you're going to have some pricing that is closer to around £3,000 to £5,000. And this will be more project-based, so you're actually solving a clear problem for them. And then you want your highest level offer, which will be £5,000 or above, and that's the completely done for you package. And when you have those 3 tiers, you can present them to people, let them see which one is closest to the outcome they want, and they will get to choose based on their budget and based on their needs. So when you have clarity in the commercials, you make it easier for people to choose you. Remember, your price should reflect the outcome, not necessarily the hours. The example that people often give in the business world is a plumber. You might pay a plumber a few £100s and they come into your house for 10 minutes, tinker with your pipes, and they leave. And that can feel a bit annoying because they've only been there for 10 minutes and maybe you've paid them £200. The reality is you're not paying them for the 10 minutes. You are paying them for the time they've spent learning their trade, developing their skills so that it only takes them 10 minutes to fix your pipes. If you were able to do it yourself, you wouldn't have had to pay them. It's the same with most things. Yes, people can make some pasta at home, but they go to a nice restaurant to have it made really well by someone who has studied that craft. So remember, when you do your pricing, it's not just about the number of hours. It is about the time, the energy, and the effort you have put into making sure that your product is the best it can be, or your service is the best that it can be. So remember that with pricing. It is all about the value to the customer. Even the best offer won't sell if nobody sees it. So that's where the 3 M's come in. The M's are medium, message, and momentum. Let's start with medium. So when you decide where you're going to show up with your offer, you need to think of the overlap between where your customer hangs out and where you like to spend time. It might be that you are selling to mums and your customer is always on Mumsnet, but you don't really like Mumsnet, perhaps. You prefer Net Mums, or maybe you like hanging out on Facebook and you know that mums hang out there too. So in that case, if your audience are there and it's a medium that you enjoy, pick Facebook. Choose the platform that makes the most sense to you. If you are selling computer games and you really love a Discord server, that's where you want to show up, but you know that your audience spend most of their time on X, for instance, but you don't really like X, you don't have to be on X because some of your audience will also be on Discord. So set up a server and create a community. Pick the medium that makes the most sense for you. Your message is all about making sure that your story connects to the pain points for your audience. So with Aya Botanicals, I started because I was very frustrated with not being able to find clean cosmetics that were ethical, that were effective, and that I could use for my whole family. There may be other people who have that pain point, but they might have different pain points. It might be that they don't have kids and they have hair that is very, very dry, or hair that gets super oily really quickly. So they're just looking for effective products. So I need to think about choosing the elements of my story of creating Aya that match up with the pain points for them. And that message will be different for different audience types and for different customers. And if you aren't sure how to figure out how to identify the audience types and who to speak to initially, you can watch my video on customers, which is linked in the description box below. When you have a clear message, it helps customers to understand what your story has to do with them, and that is essential. So in order to do this, you need to tell real stories. You need to be authentic, be yourself, tell your stories, also tell stories of other customers or other clients and show their transformation. You can break these stories down into things like quick wins or tips that will work really quickly for people to help them to build trust with you. And when you're shaping your message, you can share insights, you can share quick wins, or you can share lessons learned. Any small element of your story that helps customers to connect with you and build trust with your brand. The final M is momentum. So it's all about consistency. Momentum builds when you keep coming back again and again and again. And you have to choose a cadence that works for you. So lots of people do weekly newsletters, and many people say you have to put out a newsletter every week or people will forget about you. My newsletter goes out once a month because I know that that is realistic for me. I love writing. I enjoy creating my Substack. I like to make content, but I've got 4 kids and I run 3 businesses. I don't really have time for a weekly newsletter at the moment. This may change in future, but for now, I know that I can commit to a monthly newsletter. So the people on my newsletter know when to expect it at some point during the month. They know that they'll hear from me every month. Sometimes they get to hear from me twice, but at a minimum, they hear from me monthly. And that helps to build up trust. I've been doing that for over a year. My newsletter now has over 25,000 subscribers. Thank you guys if you are subscribed. If you're not, you can join in the description box below. There is a link. So join along. But yeah, essentially you want to make sure that the momentum works for you. So whether it is daily posts on Instagram, whether it is TikToks 3 times a day, or whether it's a YouTube video once a month, it just matters that you have a regular rhythm that works for you. And if you're struggling to create momentum because you don't really know how to post your offer, how to share your offer, just repurpose content. You can make a video or a blog post or an infographic that is a bigger one, that's your kind of main bit of content, and you can break it down into smaller pieces to repurpose it, to use it again and again and again. And when you do that, it helps you to stick to momentum that you've built, but it also means that you don't burn out and get exhausted along the way. If you want to hear regular project updates from me with lessons that I'm learning, as well as opportunities for you, and sometimes offers from partners, which are very carefully picked, I don't work with just everyone, then you can join the Renaissance Club and join over 25,000 subscribers who get a monthly newsletter from me. You also get to join Accountability Hour on a Monday evening from 9 to 10, where we have a live chat in Slack and we keep each other accountable. And you get audio courses. So far, there's audio courses on time optimization, on goal setting, and I'm just about to drop one on personal branding. So I will see you in the Renaissance Club. When you're building momentum and putting your flagship offer out there, remember the goal is not perfection. Great is the enemy of good. Perfect is the enemy of great. You want to just get things done, and done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Keep reminding yourself, done is better than perfect. We sometimes want things to be really good before we put them out there, and it means we don't put anything out there. I know that you have been there. I have been there too. Even before I started posting on Instagram, I was just scared of being embarrassed. I didn't want to put out content that was weird or that made people judge me. And I dilly-dallied a lot. It took me a while. And when I finally got over myself and just started putting things out there, I found that I was able to build an audience quite quickly. Brands started to contact me to work with them, and it's going really well. And that's helpful for my overall goal of building a large audience so that when IA Botanicals launches, there's lots of people that I can share my offers with. So whatever it is for you that you are putting off, just do it. Done is better than perfect. I'm going to give you a bonus point. You need to make it feel safe to buy. So you could have the best sounding offer in the world, but if you seem a bit shady or there's something up with the way that you're communicating it, no one is going to buy it. You need to make sure you have dotted your I's and crossed your T's when it comes to the basics. So if you are pointing people to a website, make sure it has an SSL certificate. If the website is being flagged by people's browsers as unsafe, they're not going to put their credit card details in and you are not going to get paid. Just make sure that you have made it really clear to your customers that it's safe to spend their money with you, that everything is secure, your cybersecurity is on point, your GDPR is on point. Make sure those things are clear. And on top of that, you want to give people a lot of trust. So doing things like sharing testimonials, social proof, doing things like making sure you've made clear if there's things like a money back guarantee, all of those elements help to create safety for customers, which makes it more likely that they will take advantage of your offer. Whatever you're selling, you want to show social proof, you want to outline a clear process, and you want to communicate what happens after people pay. So make sure they know how long they'll have to wait to receive your product, or when you'll first get in touch to set up a meeting with them if it's a service that they're paying for. Remove any doubt, make things super clear, and you will win your customers' trust. Transparency will build trust faster than any fancy funnel. Okay. In summary, when you take the 3 C's and use the 3 M's to communicate them to people, you build an irresistible offer. If you follow the tips in this video, you can create a clear, simple offer and communicate it to the people who might want to buy it. So here's a very simple challenge. Write down your 1-sentence offer today and decide where you're going to communicate that. And then create a piece of content and put it out there. And feel free to share it in the chat below. I will check it out too. Here's your challenge. Write your 1-sentence offer today and decide where you're going to communicate it. So use 3 C's to craft your offer and use the 3 M's to decide where you're going to share that offer with your audience. Feel free to drop a comment below with your offer and I will check it out. And if you need a little bit more help, you can subscribe to the Renaissance Club, where I share practical tools and stories to help keep you moving in the right direction. Now that you know how to craft offers that people can't resist, you might be thinking a little bit more about how to make sure that people trust you. And that comes down to personal brand. Not everyone thinks founders need a personal brand. My view is that we all have a personal brand. You just have people who decide what that brand is for themselves and people who let it be down to chance. I think if you're watching this, you're the kind of person who wants to craft your own personal brand. So come back next time and I will help you to do that. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can read these 3 books. So they are Sell Like Crazy by Sabri Subi, How to Make Money by Nafisa Bakal, and The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. Check them out and let me know what you think. See you next time, and please do remember to like and subscribe. Bye. Do you want to explain your finger? Oh, how do I explain? I got hit with a hockey stick whilst playing hockey with a very excited mum, but it was an accident. And it'll be okay in a couple of weeks. So hopefully next time I see you, this bandage will be off. Peace.